Howdy! Julia Stagey, the Magical Marketer, here with a magical marketing moment for you. This is where I start sharing about things I've been thinking about lately, including different ways to look at marketing or what it is or what it can be. So, here's what I've been thinking about lately. I've been thinking about legacy. And in particular, really living legacy, but also the legacy you leave um, after you take off into the other realm, as it were. And one thing I was thinking about was like, there's been times in my life where I discovered a book that had been written a long, long time ago. And let's take, for example, in my 20s, I was reading, my brother gave me an Alice Bailey book on esoteric astrology to check out. And she had written this book back in like the 1930s, and this was the 1980s. And I found it to be very um, pertinent to what I was going through, but also to developing a sense of who I am and who I wanted to be in the world. She had this conversation in there about the different rays, she called them. And one of them was Ray 2, the love wisdom ray, which is where you take the love that maybe you want to give to one individual, maybe an individual who doesn't really want to give that back to you. And instead of giving it to one individual, having it light the entire world. And that concept helped me to really like overcome heartbreak and also to start seeing myself as somebody who's speaking to the world. And I started developing a sense of marketing as being what it is that you're saying to the world, not such a limited concept of like trying to sell something in particular, but actually having a message that inspires other people into a new way of thinking or a new way of living. And so lately I've been getting involved in uh, book writing, anthology creation, and publishing, and putting together some anthologies. And I've put together two so far and started a third. Well, one is almost finished. It's called The Moment I Said Yes: Stories of Soul Led Trailblazers Turning Purpose into a Way of Life. Our first volume is about to come out in a couple months. And we, because that one sold out, I started another one. So we have another volume that's coming out in January. And just even the process of getting these ladies, that's who it is right now, all women, together and in a collaborative book creating process where even just the process of looking at when did I say yes to my purpose and how did that change my life is causing transformation in the lives of these women. And I think of it in terms of sure, there's this book's going to come out in September and people are going to read it and have an opportunity to dive into what these women are saying in the, let's say, the present tense. Um, But I also think of it in terms of what if this book ends up in a library somewhere, and 100 years from now somebody randomly finds it and is inspired by it. That, to me, that's what legacy is about. It's, yes, you can transform the lives of people today, um, but also the lives of people you never even conceived of, who are here long after you've taken off into another realm. And and I think about marketing in that sense as well. Like, so many marketers, they're just about, it's just about getting clients. They don't really think about there is this fact that like 95% of the people that hear your message are never going to buy anything from you. So what are you leaving with them? Or what are you leaving them with? I often think about the Coca-Cola ad from the 70s. Do you remember, um, I like to buy the world of Coke? I mean, um, there's like all these different diverse people, and they're all together in a field, and I can't remember the words of this of the tune. I don't really want to look it up because I have one of those brains that like repeats things like that. I don't want to be brainwashed by Coca-Cola right now, but the whole concept of it was like all this harmony and love and all this stuff, but what they're really doing is selling chemicals with sugar in it, you know? And often marketing is that way. It's like, well, it's okay if you lie a little bit, pressure people falsely, um, kind of brainwash them a little bit, and to like tap into their fear, poke at their insecurities so that they'll buy something. I mean, that's what a lot of marketing is. And I mean, certainly we know that because if you see advertising on TV, it's not really all about honesty, integrity, and transforming lives. But your marketing could be about that. It could be about transforming lives. And the things that you could think of it like, the things that I put out there, the content that I share with the world, the ideas that I share, things that I talk about, the letters that I write, the posts that I make. How is that share going to impact the people who you may never meet? What if it were designed to cause a positive impact in the world? What if it were designed to transform lives today, or in some unknown period of time to come? And so, back to the whole legacy thing. What if you were really clear on what your legacy is, and that's what you were sharing about? You don't even have to be clear or well organized, about it. What if you were just sharing from the heart, the way I am right now? There's no script. I only had a sort of a concept of what it was that I wanted to share today. Um, what if you were really able to share your soul in a way that makes a difference to people? People you may never have even met, or somehow they randomly find it. A lot of times on social media, people that you don't know and they're not even connected with will see your stuff. So, my question for the day is really, what is your legacy? Have you been thinking about that at all? Maybe it's because I've turned 66 this year and I'm like, I definitely don't feel like I have time to be inauthentic or making stuff up or following some marketer's blueprint thing, where it doesn't come from me, it doesn't feel authentic at all, and it's just designed to trigger somebody. What if we could come up with our own thing and inspire people to connect with us that way? Part of my legacy is something I call the New Renaissance. And this came out of many decades of having all these different talents that weren't being used. I remember even kind of being like, why did you give me these talents if they're not going to be used? I remember feeling really jealous of Peter Jackson, who created the Lord of the Rings movies. There was something new Renaissanceian about the way he did that. He got together all the best Tolkien artists, writers, experts, you know, the people that had been reading The Lord of the Rings every year since they were 12. The best Lord of the Rings calendar artists to work on sets with them, and music. There's Annie Lennox, won an Oscar for one of those songs, that was taken from something that Gandalf says. Oh, I'm not remembering the lyrics right now. About, the glass, I don't know, glass, I can't remember the lyrics. But just the whole beauty, the combination of creativity and genius that went into that. I remember thinking, why can't I be used like that? And then I realized, wait a second, I get to decide. They're calling me. I get to decide how I use my talents. And I think of the New Renaissance as a period of time where, instead of, narrowing ourselves, like the society always wants us to focus and narrow ourselves. Ever since I was a teenager, like, you can't do that and that and that and that and that. You have to choose one thing and focus on that. And anyways, you're not good enough to do this other thing. What if all of our talents could be combined in new ways that solve problems in a way? Let's say we're solving problems facing humanity since the dawn of history. Because by separating off just one part of your skill set, so that, like, the average person can understand it, that's not going to solve anything, really. Maybe it is complex, what we need in order to change the way things are going. I mean, they're going it's kind of crazy and funky and messed up, like, wouldn't you say? They're shooting people in the street and stuff like that. I don't want to get too heavily into that, but there's a lot of destruction. You can't turn on the TV without seeing, or even open your phone without seeing right in your face the problems that we have not yet solved, even though we know better. I think marketing can be about that. One of the problems I like to solve is how to share your soul. I'm into the soul sharing thing. Where you work out, why are you here on this planet at this time? What's your unique contribution? It's not just all about waking up, having your coffee, reading the news, going to driving to work, sitting there doing your thing, coming back home and eating dinner and watching TV or something like that. I mean, certainly not for me. What is your legacy? I want to know. And where are you sharing it? What's your unique perspective on the world that had you learn all these different amazing things, creative abilities, healing modalities, transformational processes? What inspired you to do that? What's the impact or the result that you would like from your life force in the world? I'd like to know. I'm actually putting together a new anthology. It's called Wise Women Legacies, Hard Won Truths the World Needs Now. I feel like women, a lot of what we know and what we're really good at and how we help people is only known by a very few people. Maybe if you have clients, maybe a few of your clients know what you can do. Maybe your family knows what you can do, but maybe they don't. Maybe even your family doesn't know what you can do. You like your magic abilities, the way you can take somebody from here to there, the way you make a difference in the world. A lot of times, our weird little, combinations of things is vastly unknown. And so I'm inviting a bunch of women. I think I've got like 5 spaces left. I think it's like 10 people that I invite to each of these 10, and then I'm often in it myself. So 11 people. 10 to 11 people per anthology. We write about 3 to 4,000 words, something along those lines. And the sense of the hard-won truths is that not only do we learn things from other people, but we learn things through our own experience, the things that we go through. And that's what this anthology is about. I'm inviting people, if you're interested in that, just comment below and I'll send you some information. I think that one of the things that the original Renaissance did not have that we have now is women sharing, women leaders. In the original Renaissance just followed like the Dark Ages. There was some pretty rough times for women, and it wasn't like they were asking us to share our hard-won truths. I was thinking about this one woman that she was like the founder of the town I grew up in Greenwich, Connecticut. And she was, let's say, the white founder because there were Native Americans there before her. But her name was Anne Hutchinson. And so if you know Connecticut, you know the Hutchinson River Parkway or the Merritt. It depends on which way you're going, but Hutchinson River is named after her. They didn't teach us this at private school. But Anne Hutchinson, she was a Puritan, and she used to like channel God, let's just say. So she had these study groups, and they would be responding to whatever the preacher had said that Sunday. And it turned out that her study groups were more popular and more animated than the actual service that was being led by the dude, whoever was the Puritan leader at the time. And they didn't like it, so they kicked her out. There was other things She had married a guy that let her have a divorce, and they didn't like that, and she had hooked up with a new guy. So they went to, which now like Old Greenwich, Connecticut, and set up a homestead. They had a rather large area that they seemed to occupy. She ended up getting killed in a war with the local Native Americans that was pretty much started by the General Kieft in Manhattan, unfortunately. But she, they were just basically killing white people. The Native Americans got together and just said, hey, stop killing us. So they just kind of burnt down, wiped out people. So there's a place called Split Rock where she was killed in like Westchester County. I think about her legacy. If she for sure didn't know we would be talking about her 400 years later. But, you know, just channeling God, just text me. I mean, that's something we can do without being outcast from society at this point. For the most part, we're not being killed for having knowledge of herbs, for instance, or how to heal people, without letting blood. What are the various things that you've learned that are worthy of being shared, that could make a difference in somebody's life? Sometimes we undervalue those things. We think, hey, that's just that thing I know. I just kind of know this thing. Like when I was in my early 20s, I had a thing. It was like I just kind of know how to go right into your soul, bring that out. And I didn't even really think about it. But now that's what I do. I help people to express their soul. So if you feel like, hey, I want to share my legacy, what is that? Please feel free to comment below. And let me know if you want it to be in a book. I have a very good deal on participating with our anthology work, and you get a year in our co-author collaborative circle, which is so inspiring. I remember the first day we all got together and people started sharing what they were going to put in their chapters. And I swear I was like crying the whole time. Not crying, but I was getting like verklempt. Little tears coming out. I was so inspired by what these ladies, they're geniuses. I've had the gift of attracting amazing leading edge trailblazers for the good portion of my life. And I'm very grateful for it. And I'm grateful for the opportunity, thanks to She Rises Studios, to put their genius into books with ease, without me having to do everything myself. Because lately I like to hang out in the garden. I need a little help to get some of these books done, so tell me what your legacy is. I want to know. Let me know where you're sharing that. What platforms are you using? Maybe you'll inspire somebody to go share their legacy on that platform too. Alright, so it's Friday afternoon, and it's a beautiful sunny day. I think I'm gonna go pick some blackberries. I hope to see your comments below. not down arrow, but I'm trying to point below, not do a thumbs down. Good to see you. Till next time. This is Julia Steggy, the Magical Marketer, checking out of my magical marketing moment.